Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm doing my second day impressions on the Shield Arms Z-9 magazine for the Glock 43. Now let me say this was designed for a factory Glock 43, and what I have here and what I'm going to be testing this on is the Polymer 80 PF9 SS. So this is an aftermarket Glock 43. And so that should be taken into account. This magazine, designed for Glock 43, we're putting it into a gun that it wasn't necessarily designed for. So if it doesn't work with this, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work with the Glock 43. Okay, so I don't own a Glock 43. I have no interest in buying a factory Glock 43. I have many of these Polymer 80 G43s. I have many more frames. I plan to build many more. I just like the gun better. Okay, and it's not a cost saving thing. Each of these guns typically runs me about $1,300. You know, with the optic. So it is considerably more expensive than buying a factory MOS Glock 43. So price is not a concern here. Okay, I like this gun. I like building it. I like shooting it. I like carrying it. And this is what we're talking about here. Okay, so one of the things I mentioned in the last video, my first impressions, right, was that after I put in the magazine release, basically I was having a problem of it dropping free. Now, I was having the same issue with the Glock OEM magazine release that was in here. Okay, so it kind of makes sense that the same problem carried over. And on the Glock OEM magazine release, I had to take a file, get in there. I had to basically file that magazine release down a little bit to get it to drop freely. Now, one of the interesting things that has happened just with, I guess, I don't know, maybe I fired about 100 rounds with this, right? Without modifying this, this is now empty magazine. It's starting to drop free. Okay, and what has happened is that you can see right here, you can see how it's basically wearing in. The paint's coming off, and that paint was basically causing a little extra, get you in the camera, a little extra resistance. And now this is dropping free. If you go back and you look at the video from yesterday, it was not dropping free. I was having to really push this really tight to get it out, and now it is coming out a lot easier. Okay, so it's a good thing. My gut instinct was not to try and file this down, to just work with it and kind of see where it went, and here's where we are. Okay, and I didn't know this at the end of yesterday. I just realized this today when I came here and I started just doing this, and I see, oh shit, it's working the way it's supposed to be working. Okay, now if you buy these Z-9 magazines, you make sure you also get the combo kit that includes the magazine release, because the way it's worked, the Glock 43 has that, you know, it's a steel inner magazine or steel inner body with a plastic outer body. So the plastic magazine release is making contact against the plastic body of the gun. This is a steel body magazine, and what's going to happen is if one of these pieces is plastic and the other one's steel, the plastic part, okay, whichever one that is going to wear out. Okay, so if you're using a steel magazine, you want a steel magazine release. Okay, so that's working. That issue is gone. Okay, so that's good. Okay, now other issue. Okay, yesterday when I did this video, fired a whole bunch of shots. The magazine was working pretty good. One of the things I noticed after I went back and I looked at the video, I thought I had filled up the magazine completely, 9 rounds plus 1 in the chamber for a total of 10. When I went back and I counted the rounds, I believe I only put 8 in there, so I was short 1 round. Okay, so which is interesting. Now, because and the reason is because after the video, like, because I was testing this throughout the course of the day, after the video when I was shooting this, I did have some jamming issues. Okay, I did have some jamming issues. I'm still trying to kind of figure out what the issues are. If it's an issue related to this PF9 being aftermarket, I don't know. Was trying to work that out, figure that out. So here's the interesting thing I noticed. I've got a target out there at 65 yards. And for like the last week or so, every day, I've been putting at least 10, sometimes 30 rounds on that target at 65 yards to basically just get good at shooting, you know, a carry gun at that type of distance. So when I was shooting this aftermarket G43 with this Z-9 magazine at the 65 yards, I was getting feeding problems. However, when I shot it at the targets up close, I was not getting feeding problems, even when I was shooting it one-handed in my offhand. So that leads me, so first of all, I'm trying to figure out what's different. What am I doing different at 65 yards versus at, what is this, about 7 yards here. What am I doing different? And here's the thing, when I'm shooting at distance, all right, obviously I'm trying to stabilize the gun more, so I'm probably holding the gun a little bit tighter. And I suspect, I'm not sure yet, but I suspect me holding the gun a little bit tighter is putting a little bit more pressure on the pinking extension here. And I think that might be causing the jams. So like I said, I'm not having the jams up here. And I did basically strip this gun down, clean it, to make sure that it wasn't a cleaning issue. I also did take some gun oil and sprayed it into the body of the magazine just to make sure that that's not an issue. I was shooting a combination of steel case and brass yesterday. However, once this jamming problem started manifesting itself, I went to just brass. Okay, I went to just brass, and I did have this issue with brass ammo as well. So that's basically, this is second day testing this out, giving you guys my second impressions, and I don't expect to have an opinion today or even a week from now. Basically, I'm going through the testing process. We do only have a sample of one here, right? So if I had 3 or 5, you know, maybe there would be a difference. I also did consider maybe using this in a different PF9. However, I gotta also change out. I gotta move the magazine release. So what I'm kind of debating with that is, do I just want to go ahead and just order another combo kit, and this way, you know, rather than take this out. So I'm still trying to decide what I want to do with that. So that's kind of like the unknown here. Do I want to just stay with one? Do I want to order a second one and try it out? Maybe even a third one. I think I'm also going to send Shield Arms the videos, the initial reviews videos, see what they think, because maybe they'll say, hey, listen, you're wasting your time, wasting your money. We've already tested it. It's not going to work reliably with the aftermarket PF9 SS. Maybe that will be their reaction, in which case that's fine. You know, at least now we all know. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off at the 65 yards. I don't expect you guys to be able to see the hits, but you should hear them. You will hear the dings if I get any hits. And it doesn't matter if I, you know, basically as far as you guys are concerned, actually, put another round in the magazine. Make sure we're topped up. You guys are mostly concerned with, does this magazine work? I can see 9 rounds. I'll show you guys what that looks like. You guys are just concerned with if the magazine works rather than if I can hit the target at 65 yards or not. And the target is 12 inches wide by 16 inches tall. Okay, so we are topped off, which is the way I would normally want to carry this. Let me get into a position here so you guys can kind of see me. So. Okay, 3 out of 10 at 65 yards. Went the lockout, no jams. Good. Let's try this again. All right, so drops freely, very good. I mean, it drops freely, but you still gotta press it. So you gotta dig into it a little bit to get it to drop freely, but it is working better than it was working yesterday. Let's do it again. Now, one of the things that's worth mentioning is when I was doing this yesterday, it did start raining. Okay, so Maybe that was an issue. I do not know. It shouldn't be an issue, but maybe it was. But that's the reason why I also cleaned the gun, because a lot of times what happens is you can have a lot of these Glocks will go like 2,000 rounds without cleanings. However, if it rains and the gun gets wet, what happens is that residue, that dust, basically starts turning into mud. So you might have a gun that you only shot, a Glock that you only shot like 500 rounds on, and if it gets wet, it might start jamming up. So the rain can make that kind of a difference on the gun, which is why I then I cleaned it, I shot it some more. I still had some jams. Maybe it's just an issue of the magazine breaking in or the spring breaking in. I don't know. So here we got 9 rounds in there, brass. So we're gonna work at the same target again at 65 yards. So far I got 3 out of 10. Let's see if I can improve upon that. That time Zippo. First time 3 out of 10. Second time 0 out of 10. The sun is messing with me a little bit because that target is in a shady area where I've set it up, and it's really bright out here. So it is a little hard to see, but however, that's part of the challenge. But this is pretty consistent with as far as my action. Sometimes I fluctuate between with the Glock 43. 507K optic, I pretty much fluctuate between 0 out of 10 and 3 out of 10. I think my best was 4 out of 10, and that was yesterday using this this Z-9 magazine. Today things working. I mean, you know, which is why, you know, like I said, this is second day impressions. You know, when I first shot I took yesterday, you know, that I videotaped. No problem. Then afterwards, throughout the course of the day, I started having a few jamming problems. A couple of times, it seemed like it was happening with the second round, right? So I had one in the chamber. That would fire. The next round after that would have a feeding problem. So I'm like, okay, so this is the first round out of the magazine. So, and then I said, wait a second. When I did the video later on, I said I was short 1 round, so maybe it's that extra pressure that was causing the first round out of the magazine to jam. I don't know, but then what happened is as I started doing it some more, at a later point, I had like, let's say like round number 8 jam up on me. Well, I do not know yet. You know, so that wasn't the case. It wasn't just like it was consistently the first round out of the magazine. Because later on, it wasn't doing it, and then it was doing it with a different round. What I'm going to do now is top this off. See, can I drop this with my left hand? See, all right, it takes because remember now with the left, if I put this in my left hand, now I'm using my index finger instead of my thumb, which is stronger. Yeah, I can still get it to drop. So this is a big indicator. Okay, so that's working. Now, obviously, this is the magazine release is reversible on this Gen 5 Glock 43 clone. But I primarily shoot righty, but I do practice a lot as a lefty. So let's get that in there. Get it around the chamber. Where is it? No. That time I don't have the finger strength to get it out. As your finger gets tired, it gets a little harder to get these guys out. All right, let's top this off. All right, so one of the tests I do to determine if the guns are reliable is I put it in my left hand and I shoot it one-handed. That's a test to test reliability. Now, I don't know if that really matters for the magazine, but we'll see how this works out. I mean, I didn't have any problems yesterday doing this. Actually, let me make it a little bit brighter. What I did is, because that's in the shadows over there at 65 yards, I kind of dimmed it down a little bit. Let me go back to regular daylight brightness now. Yeah. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, so and that looks like it's stuck coming out of the magazine. Now, trying to go up the feed ramp, maybe the feed ramp on the aftermarket is slightly off. Who knows? I'll get it to go. Now, I am doing it one-handed too. Obviously, when the gun's one-handed, I mean, I'm holding it tight, but obviously I can't hold it as tight as when I'm holding it two-handed. So what happens is if I loosened up, that slide's not going to come back all the way. So that might very well be a shooter problem. That might have been a mistake on my part, not holding this gun tight enough as I started getting into it. So let's not blame the magazine. All right, went to lockout. Push again. Gotta get the thumb on it. It's still very tight. If you've got the gun in your left hand, you're trying to push it with your index finger. It's tight, but it's still with the thumb in your regular hand. It's not a problem. And I think that, like I said, with the Glock OEM ones, I did have to work on it a little bit. I did have to file it down a little bit. I don't want to do that with this because it might be that this is the way it's supposed to be, So I don't want to do this unless I really have to do this. Unless I really have to file it down. I want to kind of let it break in a little bit. Oh, slide up. I already had it around the chamber. Let's get you back in there. I'm topping this off. Okay, so I just wanted to press check it. Good. Gun's right. All right, let's try another 10 rounds. See if this will work without a jam. This time I'm going to make more of an effort. Make sure I'm controlling the gun, holding it tighter. No problems. Went to lockout. And like I said, I'm very happy that this magazine has broken in. That's a good sign, right? That little scratch thing that you see there, that's a good sign. That's what you need in order for this, apparently on the PF9 SS, right? On the aftermarket, on the Polymer 80. Can't speak for factory Glock G43s. I'm specifically testing this with the PF9 SS. It's encouraging. This is encouraging. I mean, it's. I don't think this is terrible. I don't think this is terrible. I think it's something I just got to keep working with, keep building up some data. I do think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna get a couple more of these magazines. Maybe get like more of these magazine releases. Put them in all my G43s, including this one here. The issue now is if I put the steel magazine release in here and I continue to use it with the factory OEM magazines, which are plastic, is the steel magazine release going to start wearing out my OEM magazines, right? So that's going to be the issue. And I think I'll try it out and so let's just put this in there, see how this works. Glock OEM. It's a little bit tighter. Yeah, I can get it. If I get my offhand in there and push it with that, it's going to drop. But yeah, this, okay, so initial impressions on this. is that the steel magazine release is really going to work best. Is really going to work best with the steel magazine body that it was designed for. That's my initial thoughts. So you have to kind of decide, which one do you want to use? Do you want to use the steel magazine release and basically only use the Z-9 magazines, or do you want to keep the plastic magazine release in here, which works better with the plastic ones? You see how easily that drops out. But then maybe for your backup, if this is deemed to be reliable, keep this as the backup, and just not, once you get through the testing process, just on your carry gun, not use this that often, right? Just basically purely keep it as an emergency. Oh, yeah, it is working better now. I don't know. That's something we got to figure out. This is a learning process. I don't have the answers. I just have questions, and I am working through this. And if you guys have these Z-9 magazines, please in the comment section give me your feedback. Let me know what your experiences are with the Z-9 magazine in factory Glock 43s, in these aftermarket PF9 SSs, wherever, different type of shooting. Give me details. What kind of shooting you do? Are you shooting at distance? Are you shooting at close distance? Are you righty? Are you lefty? What kind of ammunition? I think I'm using the Maxi. I mean, this is cheap target. I mean, it's brass, but it's cheap brass. It's like the Maxi something. Basically, the cheapest brass that whatever cheap brass I could find at 1,000 rounds. I order in bulk. So, thanks for watching. This is a very interesting project. I like this project. Make sure you guys are following me on Odyssey, which is an uncensored platform. My channel name over there is Pocono Tactical, and Odyssey spelled ODYSEE.com. Okay, and that's Pocono Tactical over there. I'm also on Rumble. I forget if I'm there as Pocono Tactical, Pocono Shooting, or Safa. I'm one of those things. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all soon.